privileged today to have two gentlemen from right here in Albuquerque, Charlie Frates and Craig Degenhardt, who are with Albuquerque Tours. Now, we are privileged to have Charlie back, but Craig, this is your first time with us, so welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to
It's a pleasure.
have you guys with us today. Hey, I think a good place for us to start, we're going to talk about tours in Albuquerque and kind of the Old Town area and maybe some other things that are going on throughout the community as well. But give us a little bit of background, Charlie. How does somebody get involved in tours? How did you get involved in it? And then I'm going to ask you the same question, Craig.
All right. Well, back in 2012, I was working my home business here in Albuquerque, and I realized I needed to get out. I needed to explore the town and meet new people. I wasn't making any friends at my home office. So I went on Craigslist, and I went to the miscellaneous or the etc. part where you get the odd jobs. And sure enough, there was an article asking for ghost tour guides in Old Town. I've never been to Old Town before.
Oh, man.
So I went down there, and sure enough, there were over 50 people were applying for the job. And Craig was there that very day, same day, all those years ago. And we were one of five, I believe. Was it five? Yeah. One of five that were selected to, learning how to do the tours.
So, Craig, did you move into the tour business about the same time as Charlie did?
Here, yes. I traveled around a lot, so I was always researching places and then telling family and friends about stuff. And then my regular job has me going off for 6 weeks at a time, back for a week, and then 6 weeks and gone for years. And I came back between projects, and my wife says, get out of the house. So this job was perfect, because instead of seeing the world came to me. And I got to have nice walking exercise, and I get to talk. And my wife said I didn't have to talk to her, so it worked out.
You used up all your words at work, so that worked out, huh? Okay, all right. Well, you guys both have great voices, so that's always a positive if you're going to be in the tour guide business. People enjoy listening to you.
There were two reasons I got hired, I believe. One is I can walk backwards and talk at the same time.
Good.
And when I'm doing the ghost tours...
You've got the creepy laugh down.
He does have the creepy laugh.
That's good. All right. Well, Craig, how are you guys safely doing the tours right now? We've got a pandemic. I mean, I think it's subsiding. I think most of us would agree. It's not nearly as bad as it was. I saw the numbers yesterday. They're still coming down. But what are you guys doing to accommodate people in this time?
Well, the good thing is we are an outdoor walking exercise type, so we're not in confined spaces. And we all wear masks of one sort or another as we go along. We limit the number of people on the tours. We even have special private tours where just your own unit of family or co-workers or whatever are together without having to interact with anybody else. So it makes for a good, safe, maintaining a 6 feet distance between each other and all.
All right, now you handle things that have to do, as we just mentioned, you talk about a ghost tour. So tell us a little bit about the histories and the legends and some of the things with Old Town as you stroll about.
We just talk about the things that have happened here in the last 350 million years during our history tour. From the rising of the Sandia Mountains 350 million years ago to the rising of the hot air balloons this past October, even though it was more of a siesta than a fiesta.
Yeah, this year that we were truly New Mexican with that. We had the siesta going on.
Yes.
But, so do you focus predominantly on events in the Old Town area? I mean, Old Town, for maybe just throwing out an idea or two to some of the folks watching today, how long has Old Town been there? Since the 1700s, right?
1706 is when it was founded. But the first Europeans came through in 1541.
Okay, so there's a lot to talk about.
There is a heck of a lot to talk about. So
right.
You can say you want the regular tour, or can I get an extended version, and I'd be happy to fill the time up for you.
All right. How long is a tour?
Tour is about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
All right. Good stuff. Well, tell me about the ghost side of things, Charlie, and what's that all about? I mean, it's on your shirt there.
That's right. This is our logo here. We do this, the Ghost Tours of Old Town, and what we do is we take our guests on a lantern-lit tour around Old Town.
Does it have to be at night?
It is normally at nighttime.
Okay.
If you want a daytime tour, we'll be more than happy to accommodate you. Okay. And we take our guests on a lantern-lit tour in front of the buildings, behind buildings, down darkened alleys, and we share the history and the mystery of those who passed on, how they died, and how they haunt.
Are there, and I don't know the answer to this. Were there murders in the area, things of that nature?
There have been a number of our stops do involve murder, mayhem. Some of the stops take us right to the exact exact location of where they met their demise. And so there is a certain amount of creep factor there for our guests.
All right.
They enjoy it very, very much.
So if you're looking for something to do on a dark and stormy night, possibly get into
dark and stormy night.
Exactly. It kind of sets the tone there. What are some of the other things that are going on in terms of types of tours and things that people could, get involved with? I mean, when you have somebody come to Old Town, and I've lived here most of my life, one of the things to see is to go to Old Town and to walk around and eat, if you want to, or do a little shopping and some of those kind of things. So what kind of products do you guys offer in general as a draw to get people in?
Well, of course, we have your traditional history tour, History, Legends, and Lore tour, and we also have our ghost tour. But we can accommodate our guests, we can augment them, we can customize them to suit the interests of our guests.
Okay.
Generally speaking, when we're on the ghost tour, we don't delve into the history too much. And on the history tour, we don't mention anything about it.
All right, so they don't cross over too much.
We try not to.
Okay.
Try not to.
Sometimes it's necessary to give a background, but for the most part, we just had guests that were on my tour, 2 nights ago, and they're coming on a history tour now because they enjoyed it so much during the ghost tour.
Wow. So that's great. That speaks well of what you're doing.
And the beauty of the tours is that we can customize our tours to accommodate our guests. If we have young children and the parents want to go on a history tour, we will make it entertaining for the children. If people have ADA requirements, we'll make darn sure that they're comfortable as we take them around Old Town, where it's very safe for them as well. Mm-hmm. And so some people want a little bit of a combination. We'll be more than happy to accommodate them. But for the public tours, it's strictly history and strictly ghost.
Gotcha.
For the private, it can be customized.
It can be what you want.
Exactly.
And there are other tours. I've taken tours over to Petroglyph Monument.
Really?
Yeah. Customized.
So you don't have to stay in
We don't have to stay in Old Town. We can do all around the city and probably even the state. So contact us, tell us what you want, and we'll customize something for you.
And I think, gentlemen, since the last time you were here, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just forgetting, but it didn't seem, I knew that we had the public tours going, but I didn't remember as much about the private tours. So that's kind of an interesting side, maybe just something I needed to be refreshed on myself.
That's new for the COVID time.
Oh, okay, so it is new. Okay,
it is
good.
New, yeah. So we basically doubled our number of tours to accommodate our guests.
Well, and one of the things that's interesting is that the pandemic has forced changes, and maybe these are things that'll be positive and they'll linger and they'll provide a new avenue. New Mexico has an interesting history. I remember at the University of New Mexico, I was a history minor, and one of the things I wrote about was how the Civil War came into New Mexico, not an area that you'd think about a big battleground state, but I mean in terms of that, but there was a pretty significant fight that happened up at Glorieta. So as you think of some of those things, those are parts of New Mexico. How does that weave its way into maybe some of the history?
Where was the westernmost battle of the American Civil War? And I don't mean an uprising by the locals against a Union fort in California or Nevada. I'm talking about an army of blue-coated Union soldiers against an army of gray-coated Confederates. The westernmost battle. Where was that?
Here?
Albuquerque. There was a skirmish of Albuquerque, and 32 days later, there was the Battle of Albuquerque. Cannon fire and everything.
And see, most people wouldn't necessarily know that, and there does seem to be an interest. Now, we see a variety of ways that people are integrating those things, but it's important to know history, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of need to know the things that are going on. Talk about the Spanish conquest. I mean, there's a lot of things that connect to that. I mean, how do you guys integrate some of those things in?
Well, we talk about how the first Europeans coming through was in 1541, how history, the river flooding has wiped out all landmarks around the way.
Wow.
But the Sandia Mountains were there when the Spanish came. That's why they called them the Sandias, because when the golden glow of that setting sun hits the pink granite of the Sandia Mountains, with that ribbon of green above, it looks just like a watermelon, hence the Spanish word for melon, the Sandias. And so that's how they got their name, from the Spanish coming on up.
Charlie, tell us a little bit how people can get in touch. Is the website the best way for folks to make a
The
connection?
website is a very easy way to reserve your ticket for our tours. It's www.abqtours.fun.
Fun.
You can also contact us via phone, 505-246-TOUR, 8687.
Folks, there's a lot of fun things to be talking about and to learn about. So I hope that you'll maybe have an opportunity in the next few days or few weeks to get in touch and to maybe be on a special tour with either Craig or Charlie. It might be a great time. Thanks for being with us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Watch the Daystar Network 24 hours a day on KAZQ 32.5.
I want to mention to you today that we are so thankful and also dependent on viewers just like you to make the ministry here at Alpha Omega Broadcasting successful. And you have been supportive for over 3 decades, and we are so thankful for all that you do. You know, as we are in this time of year, moving into the spring, things are starting to warm up, and it's the time of year where we definitely are planning on all the things that we can do maintenance-wise and proactively on top of Sandia Crest because the weather is getting better. This year, our goal is to put in a backup transmitter in addition to the main transmitter that we have to maintain better duplicity of signal or redundancy. That's the word that the engineers always use. We want redundancy. And so we are in the process of raising about $30,000 for that project. Your donation of any size makes a huge difference, but certainly when you're supported of the President's Club at $50, $75, or $100, that will help us greatly to be able to accomplish that. We got a donation in, a large donation last week from a viewer, making a difference. Thank you for all that you do. Don't forget that your donations are tax deductible. Now here's how you can give. Go online to www.kazq32.org. You can go to the Donate Now section and make a donation. You can pick up the phone. That's an easy way to do it. A lot of people like to make that donation via the phone because you get to talk to a real person, and you can do so at 505-884-8355. Dial extension 101, and they would be glad to help you. That can be a one-time donation, or you can set it up to be recurring. And finally, you can do it the way that folks have done it for a long time, and you can mail it in to Alpha Omega Broadcasting, 4501 Montgomery Boulevard Northeast, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87109. And just remember that all of us together, partnering together, are making a difference, and we are so thankful for you and the blessing that you are to this ministry. It is certainly a great encouragement to us.